team on a set.
The troubles with your attitude. You don't pay enough attention in class. You don't know what the word study means. Get the next idea.
4,
Don't you realize that mathematics is an important subject?
1.
Welcome back, lovely listeners, to Pod Sound School. How are those podcasts coming, lovelies? Fantastic, I'm sure. Today Veronica is going to chat with us about content and honing in on your ideal listener. And remember, what is not started today is never finished tomorrow. Let's get at it.
Hello, mis amigos. After I asked on social media what were some of the challenges of being a podski, most of you responded that growing your audience tends to be a little challenging. Have in mind that if we want more listeners, we need to concentrate our efforts on 3 main areas: high-quality content creation, high-quality audio production, and a well-thought-out promotion strategy. So on this episode, we will be covering content. We will be answering questions like, what is content? Why producing quality content for your show is important? Who is my ideal listener? Why is it important to know who my ideal listener is? And how to cater our content having the different stages of the listener's experience in mind. So first, let's define what content is. Content is all around us. Content is anything we create using our talents, imaginations, creativity, skills to share with the world using different platforms. We're all creating and sharing content whether we do it intentionally or not. And why not do it intentionally and with our target audience or niche in mind? And that leads us to our second point: why creating high-quality content for your podcast is important. Whether we realize it or not, when we hit that submit button and our podcast episodes go live, we're putting out free content for our listeners. Depending on the type of content you are producing, your podcast is either promoting your personal talents, personality, skills, ideas, etc., or promoting your brand or business. The content of our shows becomes an extension of ourselves. By creating our shows and putting them out there for the world to hear, we're inviting people to join us on our journey. We want people to appreciate our talents, expertise, experience, and personalities. This is why it's so important to have good quality content. As podcasters, we create experiences for our listeners with our content in a very intimate and close way. If your listeners identified with your content, they're more willing to listen to an entire episode, become regular listeners and followers, and ultimately to become fans of you and your show. It works the same if what you're trying to accomplish with your show is to promote your business or your brand. By providing free content, you're inviting potential customers to check out your business or to experience the service you have to offer. Exposing our audience to our content creates a need for our product or service, which can generate more leads for potential clients or customers. Most of the time, unless it's a life necessity, we don't know we need a product or service until we try it, and then we realize we need it. Using our shows to educate our audience so they realize they can improve their lives with our product or service is a very effective marketing tool. But it can only be achieved if you have good content on your show. Whether your main goal for attracting more listeners is to direct people to your business, sales funnel, or brand, or simply to provide entertainment to a broader audience, taking the time to produce a high-quality show is extremely important. The content that you create has your name and the name of your business or brand written all over it. You want to be associated with good quality. Think of it as a free sample of a product you tried at the supermarket. The first experience will determine whether you will give the product a chance or not. And that leads us to number 3. Who will you be catering your content to?
I've got an idea. It's 100 to 1 shot.
Oh, that's music to my ears.
Remember we talked about finding your niche in a previous episode? Well, having your niche in mind when you're creating your content is key. We don't want to create content that will not serve our audience in any way. It will be a waste of time and effort. The content of your show must be always created having our ideal listener in mind. But who is our ideal listener, and how do we find him or her? It's easy to identify who our ideal listeners are if we take time to find our niche. This ideal listener is the imaginary but also real person you will be talking to. Depending on your show, you will be providing this person with inspiration, entertainment, information, education, anything to solve an existing problem or pain he or she has. The content of your show will be making this person's life better in some way. If you have that in mind, your content will be delivered intentionally. Another aspect you should consider is how to lead your ideal listener through the process of becoming a fan. The listener's experience can be categorized into 3 stages: the curious stage, the invested stage, and the faithful fan stage. The curious stage. This is the person who stumbles across your podcast by scrolling down the different directories, by browsing on social media, by word of mouth, etc. During this stage, our content should spark curiosity, create awareness, draw attention, and create an experience. You can achieve this by having eye-catching artwork, an inviting description of your show and episode, and a fun and thought-provoking intro creating curiosity and anticipation around your show. Really anything you can think of that will make that person stay and listen to an entire episode. Invested stage. Our goal for this stage is to have this ideal listener keep coming back for more. It's important to build trust and be consistent with our shows and the quality of our content. We should also build our relationship through social media with our listeners, posting pictures, videos, and teasers of our episodes, and keeping them informed every time a new episode comes out. Put your content on social media and build close relationships with your listeners. And finally, faithful fan stage. During this stage, our content should compel listeners to action. Your show should include a few call to action sentences telling your listeners what to do to support your podcast. This can be a call to action directing your listeners to join your fandom page, try your product, buy your book, sign up for your seminar, or tell other people about your show. Once your listeners become faithful fans, they will take action for you. So ask yourself 2 important questions. What is the ultimate goal I want to achieve with my podcast? And where am I leading my ideal listener to? The answer to these questions will help you in creating focused and high-quality content for your show. Remember to dream big. Dream big. Even if you're taking your podcast as a hobby or as a way to get together with friends and share opinions, plan for success.
Plan for success.
And spend the time necessary to create content that makes justice to your talents, skills, knowledge, and personality. Remember also to have your ideal listener in mind every time you're creating content. Creating high-quality content that fulfills the needs of our listeners is a surefire way of retaining and gaining listeners. And that's it for today, amigos. It has been my pleasure to bring this information to you. I hope you'll find it useful. Remember to keep us posted with your progress. We would love to know how your show is coming. Come and find us on social media at Pod Sound School. For more written and printable content, visit our blog at podsoundschool.com/blog. Also, join us at the Overachievers Club, where you can be part of the Pod Sound School community and access bonus materials. And did you like this episode? ¡Fantástico! Let me know by hitting the subscribe button. Como siempre, recuerden hacer la tarea. And until next time, happy casting!